Alrighty, so last time we left off talking about, the concepts around OOP. And one of the things I want to pick up on this time is something I hinted at before, which was the idea of wanting to keep data private. And there's various ways you can implement this in the different languages, but in JavaScript, and I've seen this in other languages as well, there's kind of a common way to do it. And we're going to change the way we're using the constructor in both the base class of person and the subclass of student in order to kind of simulate, because there are actually, if you were to search for MDM private versus public variables, there are these attributes or ways that you can set up private fields, but it really we're not gonna get that elaborate. We could totally, but for our purposes, there's just a way you can see it, and this is often what you may see in code when you're looking at somebody's code. So let's switch over here on the main. We're still on 27 at this point. So one of the ways you can do this is to attempt to keep like variables private is to actually, and when they're passing them in, is when you're referencing the this, which remember is a substantiated object, you then give each of them an underscore. Okay, so then whatever's passed in, what gets set for this first name is underscore as a way to kind of say, okay, the only way you can then reference or know that is to know that naming standard, which probably not hard to do, right? Given that it's kind of standard practice, but probably more importantly is actually something called getters and setters. So instead of modifying this data that's coming in directly, there's actually a getter and setter command, but it also can just be a standard method because that's kind of easier since we've already seen it and I've seen it used as somewhat as a practice that people do. So here's an example. If I wanted to say, so you have a getter and a setter. So one sets the value if you're changing it from where you instantiated it, and one gets the value that you have instantiated in the object from the class. So let's just say, right? So it says get, right? First name would be a method. And in that method, then we would return. Okay, what would we return? And actually we could say get full name. That actually might be a better way to do it, and that'd be. But sometimes you just want the first name or the last name, so you could, play with this whichever, and then you could say, right, this dot underscore, right, first name. Okay. So then whenever somebody wants the first name, so like where here, again, this is encapsulating. We're encapsulating this data in a structure that is intended to help keep the data integrity in place. So instead of this, what you would do is you would say this dot get first name. Okay. So then, and then you could say set first name, another method. Now imagine, what are you going to do here, right? You're going to say this dot first name is going to be equal to whatever you're passing in, maybe new first name. Okay, and then you're going to say whatever is passed in, then say new first name. So that's the idea of a getter and a setter. Okay, and this is this is the first time you've heard it. Don't worry. All we're really doing is we're saying we're going to write methods to allow us to get the first name. We haven't run this yet, so we will in a minute. And if need be, right, we're going to have a method so we can set the first name. And by setting it as encapsulating this inside, this gives us the ability to keep some integrity so that somebody's code can't necessarily directly access these values. They're in the instantiated objects. Now, in implementation in reality, these are probably done on some database out on the web, and there are definitely other techniques that build upon these OOP ideas that allow you to do that. But this is just introducing the concept if you haven't already been introduced to it, which I suspect most of you have not. So let's actually go use this now. So let's just, and by the way, we could do this for every one of these. Matter of fact, I think I'll have you do that as kind of a code challenge and then give you one other thing to do. Okay, so let's do this. Let's just go use it. So because first name and set and get first name are on the person, we can call it either on the student or on the person, right? So we could say, right, Rio dot get first name, right? And then we could console log that if we actually, yeah, that just returns it, right? So we'd have to either call a console.log or capture that in a return value because it's returning it right here. So let's just see that in action real quick, right? So there it is, but let's actually watch it because I think it's a little more, right? So let's actually reload the page. So now we're going to step into this code. So now it's going to go get the first name, right? And then step into it and return it here. Okay, so pretty straightforward. Oh, that's right. So the other thing is because I was looking at why this was undefined. I think that actually will start. Okay, so here's your coding challenge. Okay. At this point, given this code status, we have an undefined here. Okay, so we'll have to fix that. So I want you to attempt to fix that. I want you to do getters and setters for first name, last name, and address. And also here for class list, do a getter and a setter. Okay, so that's your coding challenge for this. So we've explained in this relatively short video the idea. Oh, Jane lives at, oh yeah, this also is an error. Actually, we have several. So you need to fix these errors. Now, again, if you're not able to fix them in your README file, then tell me based on this video, what did you try? Okay, because just watching my solution, although it's fine to do that, it's really this step is given to you as a way to see if you understand the concepts. So just to be clear, you're going to do getters and setters for last name, address. Okay, fix the undefines that are here, and also do a getter and a setter for the subclass of student, and fix, make sure all the code then runs without error. Okay. All right, that's your challenge. Commit your code, and again, I'll give you a commit mess. Actually, I'll just do OOP coding challenge. That will be it. I will put it in there.